Hi readers! Today I'm going to be going over all the books that I finished in October. I can't believe it's November already. In case you don't know me, my name is Chris. Welcome to my channel. I do book reviews, book hauls, and all sorts of bookish stuff. So as I said, I'm going to be talking about all the books that I finished in October, and then if you stay to the very end of the video, I'm going to quickly go over all the books that I am currently reading this month, November. I can't believe it's November already. So to start off with, I'm going to talk about the book that I finished most recently, like on Friday, 2 days ago, which was Philipagregory's The Last Tutor. If you are following my stories on Instagram, you will know that I've been reading Philipagregory for a long time. I've read almost everything she's ever written, except for like a couple of her really, really old books. And then she has a new series that just came out. I think the first book, The Tidelands, came out last year, and then its sequel, Dark Tides, actually comes out this month, November. I almost said next month, because I still can't believe it's November. So anyway, The Last Tutor, again, is supposed to be her last book about this period of English history. So this features some ladies in that time period who are not as well known as some other famous figures. So if you know Henry VIII, he kind of died without leaving an heir, and there was a lot of drama about who was going to take over. There was this girl, Jane Grey, and she became Queen of England for about 2 weeks. So this book is about her and her two sisters, Catherine and Mary. Again, Jane, there's a little more information about, but Catherine, and then especially Mary, the youngest one, there's like not a lot of information about them in the histories, so it was really interesting to see Gregory's interpretation of what their lives would have been like. So again, some of her books are better than others. I'd say this one was actually pretty good. I'd say it's in the middle about her books. If, like, the other Boleyn Girl, I think, was probably her best, and then I can't think of the worst off the top of my head, but I'd say this one's in the middle and probably the higher end, if you're interested. Anyway, next I'm going to move on to the Bachman books by Stephen King. Now, this collection actually features 4 different books in here. So there's Rage, The Long Walk, Roadwork, and The Running Man. If you want to know more about those 4 books and what I think about them, you can click on the link above for how I rate the Bachman books. But anyway, I did read all of these 4 novels. Some of them, I think Rage and The Long Walk I had started previously, so I technically didn't read all 4 novels in the month of October, but I'm still counting it as an October read because I will not have to pick up this book again for a long time. We'll see. Next, I have the Ranger's Apprentice. You've heard me talk about this. I do have a 1-minute review for this, which you can click on the link above if you want to know more. This was a reader recommendation. This was recommended to me by one of my followers, Kaden. It was a really, really cute book. I managed to find the sequel in a recent book haul, if you saw that. So I know this is super popular among younger readers. So I'm very interested to continue to read the series and see where it goes. Next, I finished Legendary. This was such an interesting book. Again, I also have a 1-minute review on Legendary, non-spoiler. If you want to watch it, you can click on the link above. But this was the sequel to Caraval, which I really, really enjoyed. I can see why these books are so popular. Legendary definitely took like a really interesting turn. Something that was not expected. I definitely want to do a more in-depth review of Caraval and then of Legendary, so that's something that I'm going to work on over the next few weeks so I can really dive in and talk about what the heck happened in this book. All right, and then one other thing I wanted to mention that I know I don't talk about as much as the books that I'm reading, but I also finished this comic book. So this is the new X-Men by Grantmorrison. I've been reading this whole series in a trade paperback form. This is actually volume 6, if you can see that. So there's one more volume, volume 7, that I'm reading right now, and that's going to be the end of Grantmorrison's run on the X-Men. If you are an X-Men fan at all, Grant Morrison's X-Men run is definitely worth reading if you haven't already. It's super interesting. He does new things with the characters that are really, really cool. And he just has really great writing. Things that you see in books, like he actually applies to his comic stories, where like things that happen at the beginning all come back around again at the end and things like that. So it's really, really, really good. I would definitely recommend it. And then the last book I wanted to mention, technically I finished this at the end of September, but I've never done one of these videos before, so I'm going to include it anyway. And that is Waistcoats and Weaponry by Gailcarriger. Again, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll know I'm a big Gailcarriger fan. So this was the third book in her series. The series is called the Finishing School series. I'm currently on to book 4, which is the final book of the series. I really like it. It's basically, I guess you would call it steampunk, being a subgenre of fantasy, but if you like assassins, werewolves, vampires, and all that kind of stuff, definitely give this series a check. They're super quick reads. They're really, really cute. It's basically about these girls that go to a finishing school that's actually a school for spies. And not only is it a school, it's a floating dirigible. I mean, how cool is that? So those were the books and comic books that I read in October. And now, very quickly, I will show you what I have going on so far for November. Yes, in case you didn't know, I'm one of those people that reads multiple books at a time. So I kind of read by order of preference. That way, if I don't get through if I don't read some of each book every day, it's not the end of the world. So really quickly, first off, I have The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Again, this was a book that one of my followers on Facebook recommended to me. My reader recommendations are always going to be on the top of my list because these are books that you've recommended to me. I want to make sure I get through it as quickly as possible, so I'm definitely reading from it every single day. Next, I have Stephen King's Different Seasons. I'm about halfway through this one that I started in October. I thought it would be a really cute idea because of different seasons and the change into fall, but the stories are more metaphorical rather than like giving off any vibes. So yeah, the one I'm in the middle of right now is Apt Pupil. It's definitely interesting. Again, if you followed my stories, I've made some comments about it. I'll definitely make some more comments about it once I finish. Next, I have Siege of Stone by Terry Goodkind. This is the third book in the series, the Nikki Chronicles, which is like a, I forget what the term is, but it's basically like an offshoot of the main series that he wrote. And this features the sorceress Nikki and her adventures. I'm almost finished with this one, and then I have the last book of the series, so hopefully I can finish this one before the end of November and finish up that series soon. Next, I have American Royals, the newest one I started. I was debating between this and another philipagregory book, but I decided, with the help of you guys, to take a break from philipagregory and jump into this because I've heard so many good things about this book. Next, I have Manners and Mutiny. Like I said, this is the fourth book in the Finishing School series. Again, I'm about halfway through with this one. It's a pretty quick read, so I should finish this in the next few weeks. Next, I have Queen of Air and Darkness. This is the final book, the third book in the Dark Artifices series. This is a Shadowhunter book, if you're familiar at all with Cassandra Clare. I'm pretty close to being done with this. I'd say probably by the end of the week or maybe the next week I'll be finished. Wow. I cannot say enough good things about this series. It's amazing. I'll say more about it later. Again, this is the last trade paperback in Grant Morrison's X-Men run. And I just started it recently, but again, it's pretty quick, so I'm sure I'll finish this before the end of November. Next, yeah, it keeps going. I have Ink Death by Cornelia, I don't know how you pronounce her last name. Funk? I've been reading this for a while because it's near the bottom of my reading pile. I haven't been consistently reading from it every single day. And to be honest, it's kind of been a slog for me. So because I'm near the end though, I hope to finish it by the end of this month and finally move on to something hopefully better. And then last but not least, the bottom of my pile is The Remnant. So this is from the Left Behind series. It's a really old series. If you're not familiar with it, it's basically about the apocalypse, about the end of the world. And it's a religious apocalypse book. So I forget the name. Someone will have to remind me the term of what happens when like half the world's population disappears. Jesus takes all his followers up into heaven, and those who are left behind have to deal with all these crazy things, including like the rise of the Antichrist. So this is the 10th book in this series. I think there's like 12 or 13. So I'm getting close to the end, but again, it's kind of been a slog getting through this particular one, but hopefully I can get through it by the end of the year. So anyway, those are my October, November reads. I hope you had a good time. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel and let me know what kind of video you would like to see me do next. All right, everyone. Happy reading. Bye.